The last one we did at King Country was a house called Two Rivers Mansion.
Okay.
It was up Nashville, Franklin area.
Right.
House was built in the early 1800s.
Welcome to Podcast on Wheels. I'm your host, Brian Smith, and today we've got a very special guest, a family member, a real cowboy, and owner of Wild Hearts Carriage Company, Stan Smith. Welcome to the show, Stan.
Thank you, Brian. It's such an honor to be here. I have really followed you and watched your journey throughout the things.
You being my uncle, and I was about 20 when I was born, because I'm 46, and I think that's about the difference. But to grow up, and then even when I got to coaching baseball, I don't know if I've ever been able to tell you this, we had baseball players all over Limestone County, Madison County, et cetera, when we were doing the teams. And anybody that found out that you were my uncle would say, that's a real cowboy. That's a real cowboy.
Good.
That's a good dude. That's a real cowboy. And I'm like, he is. And that's why he was the cool uncle. That's why, getting to hang out with Uncle Stan was like, you would learn a lot. Maybe there was one time you told me to get on a horse and the front dirt wouldn't take. You taught me that I need to check the equipment before I try to step up on a horse, there was things that you let me learn.
Yeah.
Right. And those lessons transitioned into so much else. What you're able to do right now with your carriages, just give us a little bit of insight, and then we'll break down the business of how somebody can use it.
Yeah, one of the things that I really enjoy, I enjoy sharing my horses and watching people enjoy it.
Yeah.
But I get to share it, and they don't get to hold on the reins. They're not in control. I'm still in control. I had a new horse that I'm training on that I had up there riding around the Aspen Square the other day. And I'm just doing it by myself, and the horse is doing okay. So, and I look, and there's two young girls over, their mouth is fell open, they're pointing and everything. So I invited them to come and ride with me. Yeah, and they rode around the square a couple of times, and the joy that they got was just unbelievable, which transferred to me having a great time.
That's so awesome. I've been able to ride around the square with you one time and to experience them. It is different.
It's different.
Why is that different to ride around in that versus this or what?
I call it buggy eyes.
Okay.
Because everything kind of slowed down. You're looking around.
Yeah.
And you see stuff that you don't see if you're in a car.
Well, I remember now, you told me this house was from this era and this was built here, and I'd never seen that.
Right.
I've been across that railroad track in that circle many times.
They told me, the tourism department told me when I was talking to them about doing that, that I needed to take people down the old historical district.
Yeah.
And I was raised right there in that, and I thought, well, I know you're going to take anybody down there.
Yeah.
But they really enjoy it. And I've learned stories of certain houses, like there's one house down there that's got a long hallway in it. And supposedly during the Civil War, one of the Union soldiers would ride his horse through the hallway burning Athens.
Yeah.
And this woman shot him off his horse inside the house.
Yeah.
So I've learned all kind of stories.
Yeah.
Are they all true? Who knows? But they sound great.
Yeah, they're good stories. That's awesome. Like, people have always called you the cowboy, the old cowboy.
Right.
And your ability, skill set, gift, all of the things to be able to communicate with horses, to understand. Tell us how that feels for you. How do you?
I feel stuff that I can feel what the horse is thinking through his reins, but just simply because I study them, I watch them, and been doing it for a long time. And it's just been a knack for me.
Right.
To be able to do that. I've got some friends of mine that train dogs, like the military dog, and they know what that dog's thinking before.
Yeah.
And it's amazing to be able to tap into that creation that God created.
Yeah.
It's amazing. But I just enjoy watching them, reading their eyes. I can look at a horse in the eyes and I can tell, a lot of.
And that's because of the hours that you spent in the saddle in front arenas.
Exactly.
And you've never, just a little something from my personal opinion, I don't know that you've ever drank, party, done other stuff. It's always been horses.
It's always
Right.
been.
I mean,
I've never found any kind of alcohol that I like the taste of.
you understand that?
And I can have so much fun
Yes.
with horses and doing stuff.
Yeah.
And, you know,
Yeah.
I've never needed the alcohol to have fun.
Yeah. And the things that you do that a lot of people may not know that you've with special needs kids and different kids and just giving them that experience.
Yes, we do every year at the Athens Rodeo.
Yeah.
We do a special needs deal where they bring in all the kids
Yeah.
from around. They ship them in
Yeah.
bus loads
Yeah.
up, and we fool with them for about a half a day, and
Right.
that's a great deal. Something that I don't know if you know about this. During Christmas, they have a special thing up on the square for the kids with needs. Some of the lawyers, even I can't recall the name of the people that do it,
Right.
but sometimes a kid with special needs, they can't be around a bunch of people.
Right.
So they make a point. If they want to go see Santa Claus, they'll go in the room by themselves and see Santa Claus. And I take one of my buggies up there and we'll ride them all around the square. It's a great time.
Yeah. And the one thing that, and when I was doing baseball and get the opportunity to work with a special needs team or group, to be able to take a horse, an animal, and put them in that environment with these kids and everybody have a good time. That's what's amazing about me that you do, Stan, is you can take and make everybody feel comfortable. And because sometimes the kids are going to react to the horses, right? And the horses can.
And all horses cannot do that. I have seen, sure enough, broke horses not be able to handle it because it's a different energy.
Yeah.
And then I have seen horses that I wouldn't think would do good, and they just melt into them.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's amazing how they melt into it.
Yeah. I just wanted to give you guys an insight that this is something that, people talk about 10,000 hours to become an expert. You probably had that before you were 40 on a horse. So now it's like how many more of the expert, but you were able to fully retire from work, go play with horses, as I call it, really. I mean, for you, you're having fun playing.
I'm having fun.
But you've turned it into an opportunity for weddings, for funerals, for all these things and joy rides and different things. But tell us about the carriage business.
One thing I enjoy, that may be a bad word, but the funerals.
Yeah.
The peace that I bring to the family is, we did a funeral here a while back for what they called a real cowboy. They wanted my military funeral. We going down the highway carrying him. We've got his wife and friends riding along behind us. And we pull up there and they've got the song, Seven Spanish Angels playing.
Yeah.
I mean, it was just great. And we've done funerals for women that is just, it's awesome. And a lot of time I will let, one of them I think of is I let the daughter ride in the thing, and we had a great conversation. I get to learn about the person that's calling.
Yes.
Yeah. We've even I've got to do several movies.
Yeah.
On the funerals. One of them was a show called P Valley. It's about a show in Mississippi.
Mm-hmm.
It's supposed to be a nightclub deal.
Yeah.
And supposedly one of their dancers had died.
Right.
And they hired me to bring my horse and carriage.
Yeah.
And to do the funeral of this cast member.
Right. Right. Right.
Now, I didn't get to drive the carriage. They had another cast member to drive the carriage, but had my stuff in.
Well, that's even more impressive that another cast member was able to drive your carriage.
I was nervous.
Right.
And I told them when they told me about it, I said, look, when your guy puts his hands on the reins, my responsibility is gone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that horse knows who's back there.
Yeah. And the movie director said, don't worry about it. We got plenty of insurance.
He knew what you meant.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. But being able to be in movies and doing those things and given that, I was going to say when you're doing a funeral, because unfortunately we've both been to many that we didn't want to go to. And it almost becomes a blur in the memory because You go here, you do this, you get in the hearse, you go over there. But having that, you do usually the last
Yes,
part.
what we call the last mile,
Right.
taking them the last mile. And I have picked up at the graveside,
Yeah.
and I try, and even if I don't pick up at the graveside, I try not to take them over a mile.
Right. Right.
After that, it gets a little redundant.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And that's amazing. Just that daughter that got to talk to you about that. And,
Yeah.
and she's going to remember that forever.
Matter of fact, something I will never forget. We're up there and we're talking, she's in the carriage with me for she says, what do you do besides this? And I was able to, well, we just got through shooting this movie.
Yeah.
And this lady says, oh my God, that was my mama's favorite show. And she's the lady in the back.
Oh, that's cool.
That was way cool.
Yeah. So you started out with, I know you've had different carriages, but how many you got now?
I've got probably 5 major ones.
Okay.
We got a total of 17,
Right.
I've got like 5 major ones.
Yeah.
I've got 3 funeral carriages, 3 wedding carriages, and I've got 2 what you call people haulers.
Gotcha.
That people just get on and,
around the square and that type.
Exactly.
So different carriages. So you were telling me you got this color horse, this, like almost they can go on and say
You
what
can
they
go on and mix, match, whatever you want, and we could generally make it happen.
Yeah. So if they want a white horse with a white carriage.
Yeah.
Black horse, black carriage.
Yeah. And a lot of times swapping it up.
Yeah.
A white horse with a black carriage, and it makes it pop.
Okay.
That I've got some that will want a black horse and a white horse
Okay.
pulling some.
And that's no problem.
Yeah. No problem at all.
So you got to meet some musicians here recently,
Yeah.
right? That I'd heard of, and when you told me, I'm like, wow. And you're going, they sing. So tell us about that experience.
The last one we did was a group called King and Country.
Mm-hmm.
I shamelessly had never heard of it.
Right.
Right. But I have since found out and heard of that. They amazing. If you had never heard of King and Country, check them out.
Yeah.
It could not have been any nicer.
Yeah.
I pride myself in saying, if you come up before we got something going on, you won't know who the boss is. You won't know who's the boss and who is heading. When King and Country, one of the lead singers come out talking to me because I was going to haul him and his wife. I didn't know he was the lead singer. We're sitting there talking about riding horses. He's from Australia, and we was talking about different stuff. I didn't know till he got on the carriage. Hey, that's him.
Right.
But he couldn't have been any nicer. I've had the opportunity to be in a few different shows. I had the opportunity to be on the Avengers show one time.
Okay. I didn't know that one.
Yeah,
Okay.
Exactly. Had got one horse, one of my Mustangs.
Okay.
Has got a TV commercial out there for the school foundation. Yeah, we've done several TV things.
Where else have you been to be in movies? You've been a few places.
We've done a lot of shooting at Stone Mountain. The last one we did at King and Country was a house called Two Rivers Mansion.
Okay.
It was up Nashville, Franklin area.
Right.
House was built in the early 1800s. Yeah, it was
awesome.
It was amazing.
That's awesome.
We got to go in there and just watch them film it.
Yeah.
Till it come time for me to
Yeah.
go out and do my part.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If somebody wanted to see that, and that's the cool experience, I think. Like, with what we do in podcasting and traveling, sometimes we get to hang around people. And last night was one of those times we told you about, and it was more about, heck, it made me feel cool for a moment. You know what I mean? It was like, hey,
You got to sit at the cool table.
we were at the cool table with the cool kids for a minute. And there is something to that, because you and I've talked about conversations with winners and being at that table, right? And learning that. Since you started this carriage company and getting to do what you love to do and not having a boss anymore.
Yes.
How does that feel?
It has been wonderful.
Yeah.
On sitting at the cool table.
Yeah.
I did a deal for the, they call Sweet Teas in Huntsville.
Yeah.
And it's a fundraiser for premature.
Yes. I've heard that. Yeah.
Okay. Well, they have an auction, and they feed you and have the auction. and I got to go in and sit at the table,
Yeah.
while they were doing that. And they had me sit with 4 different couples, and every one of them had it going on.
Yeah.
They had businesses. Some of the couples had 2 or 3 businesses going, and it was so cool to sit there and listen to their journey.
Yeah.
Kind of like if you hang around the cool, the good table, it's a different conversation.
Yes.
They wasn't sitting there talking about, well, I couldn't do this because I was this. My daddy treated me this way.
Correct.
By George, they were getting after it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Made me want to go home to hustle.
I get it. I get it. I get it. And that's the cool part. But here's the thing that I don't think you give yourself enough credit. It's like there's a lot of couples out there in what we've met, but there's not a lot of Stan Smiths out there. There's not a lot of people that can do what you do. And that's what's intriguing, I think, to me. Right? Well, because how many of them have a horse or even know how to ride or anything? And here you are talking to horses.
Yeah, exactly. I am taking my mission. If you step on my carriage, I want you to have a good time.
Yes.
Yeah. I was fortunate enough, me and Jennifer had went to Chattanooga. And I don't know how many of y'all, have y'all ever rode the duck boats in Chattanooga?
I've seen them.
They pretty cool.
Yeah.
And I got to sit back there and listen to the guy that was driving the duck boat.
Yeah.
And I put myself in that position for somebody that didn't know nothing about horses.
Yep.
Sat on the back of my carriage. And it gave me a way to learn a little bit about entertaining the people back there. Just got through doing what during Christmas did the deal of Chris Creamer market called.
Okay.
And it's one group after another. Bam, bam. And it was so much fun getting to talk to everybody.
Right.
And hearing their enthusiasm.
You can't be mad on the back there.
No,
you can't.
No.
If you are, you're a grumpy son of a gun.
Exactly.
It's hard to be upset on that.
Yeah. I seen a sign here a while back. Then Jim was out, and it was Uri Carter's Fleet Avenue.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean that was And you see that sign, and you're no smile.
Yeah. The wedding thing. I haven't gotten to. You weren't doing it. I think when we got married, and now you got the wedding stuff going, but. What is that like? How does that look? Because I know there's going to be some girl out there watching and she's like, I want to be on this and do this for my wedding. But what does that look like?
With the last wedding I did I really enjoyed it because the mama called me and said that her daughter had always wanted to leave her wedding in a horse-drawn Cinderella carriage. Me and mama booked it up.
Yeah. Okay.
And so they call me when it comes time.
Yeah.
To come up there. And I take the carriage and stuff. White horse, white carriage, Cinderella top. There you go. We go in, and this kid had this lady, blue was her color.
Okay.
And I've got lights on the top of this Cinderella carriage that I can change colors.
Cool.
So I had little blue streamers, lights and stuff. And I thought the lady was just going wet her britches.
Yeah.
She was so happy.
Yeah.
Which made everybody happy.
Absolutely.
And it was such a cool moment to see that.
That is cool.
Yeah. And I mean, when I do a wedding, most of the time I get to take the bride in and I wait there till it's over with.
Right.
Then her and her husband will come and get in and I get to take them on their first ride out. So I've got her while she's as nervous as she can be,
right.
And then I get to take them out.
Yeah. I was going to kind of make a joke. I think on the way out, that's when the guy's as nervous as he can be because now it's real and now we're hitched.
We're dead now.
The girl comes in nervous, the guy leaves nervous.
Exactly. And it's amazing the difference in people. I did a wedding in. Have you ever heard of Tanner Hill, Alabama? There's a reason they call it Tanny Hill.
Yeah,
because it's pretty hilly. I've done a wedding for a lady down there. I had a friend of mine that had 11 kids.
Yes.
She calls me about doing one of her kids' weddings.
And
it's up on top of a hill.
Okay.
and I'm coming down the hill. I've got the lady. I got there a little early, so me and her brother did a run first, okay, to make sure. I said, y'all left first Steve. Me and the brother, you can't hurt brother.
Yeah, the test done.
Yeah, exactly. So we went down there, and I felt the back end. My buggies had got brakes on the back end.
Right.
And I felt the back end kind of jumping. Well, I told him, I said, I feel it jumping a little bit, but I think it'll be all right when we put her back there. I didn't think about her weighing 87 pounds.
Oh, that's it.
Yeah. She was,
Got it.
and I start off down the hill and I feel it kind of jerking.
Yeah.
I didn't think nothing about it. I'm looking for where to go.
Yeah.
Well, I noticed the people, this outdoor wedding, I noticed the people kind of sniggered.
Yeah.
We get down to the bottom of it, and she said, in her wedding dress. Yeah.
That's awesome.
And I didn't realize that, you know, it was about to bounce her out. But as I said before, it was 11 kids in that family, so they was used to just rolling.
Yeah,
of
course.
You know?
That's hilarious.
Oh yeah, I've got to do some pretty cool, some pretty cool stuff.
Yeah, and those memories, man, because it's just, as we heard one of our friends, I told you, went to Nashville and heard him. He's got a song about memories, and it starts out, and he talks about, and then it ends with like him fishing with his dad, and he misses that, or he remembers a certain aspect of that. And you said something earlier that's kind of hit me by now. It's like, you have to slow down.
Yeah.
Right there at that wedding, a lot of times those are rushed and it's hurried. And then the funeral, in a way, you want to be done with it sometime, right? But it makes you stop and appreciate and be in that moment. That's the coolest thing for that. And then the Kris Kringle and Coleman, and that's just fun.
We had so much fun in that.
Yeah, because I know people are going to watch this and they're going to say, wait, I've seen that, or I've heard about that, but this is the guy. That's why I wanted you to be here. So they can say,
thank you.
How do we get to experience that?
Yeah.
I mean, I take it for granted that you're my uncle. Right? Like if I need something, I call Uncle Stan, or we need to talk about something, we do. And we may not talk for 6 months, and then we may talk 6 times in a week.
Right.
Exactly. But it's like, I know I could always count on you, and then to get to see you enjoying it. And even when I tell somebody, oh yeah, that's my uncle, they're like, yeah, I know that guy.
Yeah.
So that's the cool part. But what are some other stories? I know you've been in the movies and you've got some stuff here. I want to make sure we hit everything. So tell us, make sure I don't miss anything.
Hey, you know what? I've got old enough. I am your uncle.
I understand.
We discussed the funerals. We discussed the special needs deal. One thing that a lot of people don't realize is I've been shooting horses for over 50 years. My dad, your granddad, started shooting when I was 10. Yeah.
I saw a picture not too long ago where one of you was holding the rope. He was shooing, and I think Eddie might have been bent overheaded or something.
He may have been. I miss it.
Yeah. And you doing his funeral was special.
Yeah, it really was.
Yeah.
It was special. His daughters and them asked me to do that. He helped me do several funerals. Yeah. He had lived with me for about a year, and he had to go help me do stuff. Yeah. And he really enjoyed getting to do the funeral, to stand there and help people in line. He had loved to talk.
Yeah.
He really loved it. And so far, he's been the only one that ever fell out of any of my carriages.
I remember you telling me that story. Tell him that story.
Now, we was doing a Veterans Day parade. And I had asked him, we was having to wait in line, and horses get nervous and that type of stuff. So I asked him just to go up and stand at the horse's head, let him do what we call head the horse. Well, he did. And okay, hurry up and wait.
Yeah.
So we're waiting. And all of a sudden they said, okay, come on, you got to go. You're behind this one. You're behind that one. Ed, get on the bus. So he starts climbing on, and I think he's on. I'm watching up ahead. I've allowed him time to get on. So I take off, and I hear women screaming and everything. And I look back there, and he's laying on the ground on the asphalt. And I'm like, dude, would you get up? I didn't know. And apparently he hurt a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah. I think you told me there was maybe some cheerleaders or band ladies and some girls
Yeah.
that was behind you and they were yelling.
They were yelling and screaming like something bad had happened. They didn't know it was it.
Yeah, you're like, that's my brother.
Yeah.
He'll be all right.
And I tell that story a lot of time because I tell people, you'll be all right. The only one that ever fell off my carriage was my little brother. He landed on his head, so he's okay.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Now, one of them, I seen something here
All right.
ago. I've got a movie coming out, and I actually heard that it was going to be out the 20th. I've got two different movies I'm waiting to come out.
Okay.
One called The Legends of Van Dorn,
Wow.
which is a Civil War movie.
Yeah.
It's Van Dorn was one of the top generals in the Confederate Army. Now, I had never heard of him, but
Right.
you do a little research, he was one of the top ones. But he did have a problem. He kind of liked the women.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I can
And-
understand.
Yeah. He ends up having an affair
Okay.
with the doctor's wife.
Okay.
Have y'all, some of you listeners may have heard of Dr. Quinn, the Method Man.
Yeah.
He was playing the doctor of the guy that actually shot Van Dorn.
Okay.
Okay. The cool part to me was Van Dorn, when he was courting the lady, he was using my white mare. The guy that shot him was using one of my Mustang mares, just been in a lot of movies and
Wow.
stuff. I had two horses playing main characters in that movie. That was way cool. The first scene I see of my horse, Van Dorn, is in a carriage and he's running straight for the camera.
Okay.
And that was the first time I seen one of my horses.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And I was like a proud papa.
Yeah.
I got to go see the premiere.
Yeah.
So I'm sitting there in a theater in
Yeah.
Franklin, Tennessee,
Okay.
watching, and one of the first scenes was my horse running straight for the camera.
That is so.
That was so cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I couldn't imagine, because a lot of people want to be in movies and you're in the movie sometimes. You're not for what the movie.
Most of the time I'm background.
Right.
It got me stuck off in the
Right.
bank.
Having your horse out there because where that horse was when it started.
Yes.
And now you're seeing that horse do what it's supposed to do.
One of them horses in that, I did a 15 of the Mustang makeovers.
Okay.
Where they take the Mustang out of the herd. You have 120 days
Right.
to train it and go back. The horse that Dr. Quinn Medicine Man was riding in that movie was one of them. Was a formerly wild Mustang.
Yep.
Was 6 years old before it come out of the hills of Nevada. Yeah, so getting to see it now, being a productive member of society,
Yeah.
was just way cool.
They're just not, that's what's always been amazing to me was seeing how you've been able to put this together.
I've been very fortunate to do that. Things just kind of, because of a lot of hustling and trying, things just fell my way.
Yeah.
Kind of like that saying, the harder you work, the luckier you get.
Yep. Yeah.
Get after it.
Yeah. How long does it take you? Let's say you get a horse. Like, do they all come? Do you get certain horses? How do you find the horses that are going to pull for you and work? How does that happen?
For what's going to pull for me, I mainly look at attitude.
Okay.
I want them to have a great attitude. They've got to do that and to be around that kind of atmosphere. They've got to just be very docile and, realize that ain't nothing gonna hurt them.
Right. Right. Because I don't know how many people, I was at a car auction the other day and this one guy comes to me and he's going to take his wife on this trip to Nevada and they want to go down the canyon on the horseback, mules, right?
Yeah.
And he told me, hey, I got to lose this much weight to be able to ride a mule, right? Because he weighs like 250 and he got to weigh 225 or something like that. So he's asking me for that help there. And I looked at him and I said, have you ever rode before? And he's like, no. I said, well, that weight's going to matter on that horse, and especially how they have to. And I said, so it's not going to be something you can get there and just get by, right? But then this other guy says, hey, I got a story about riding a horse. And I said, okay. And I talked to this guy. And I'm not going to say your name, Jeremy, but yeah, I am. But he's telling me, and he's got a car lot in Coleman, great guy, great friend.
Right.
And he's one of those mainstays in Coleman, Jeremy's Auto Sales, solid car, solid dude. But he tells me the story. He surprised the group family that he took on vacation with a horseback trail ride on the trail.
Right.
And he said he showed up. He's the biggest guy, so they put him on the biggest horse. And they told him, said, this horse likes to run, so we're going to put you in the back. All we need you to do is just stay with the group. And he said, then they looked at me and said, but you know how to ride. You've ridden before. And he goes, no, he's 50-something years old. He's never been on one. He said that horse was right behind him. And then after a little bit, that horse would stop and let the group go ahead. And regardless of what he did, then that horse would just get it, and take off, and catch right back up and then walk a few 100 yards and then he'd stop. He said, I was saying this, I was doing everything I could, but that horse just did whatever he wanted to.
Uh-huh.
So I don't know how many people really understand. You know, they see a horse in a movie or they see things. And I can think back to when I was a kid watching a movie, you would compliment the horse and the rider, or that guy knows what he's doing. And to this day, when I watch movies with horses in them, Courtney and I'll talk and she's like, that don't look comfortable. Or she's,
exactly.
You know what I mean? Like that person had been on a horse, you know, but you get to give people that experience to be around them and they don't have to ride it in reins. And like you said, that's what's cool.
Yeah. It has really made me enjoy it.
Yeah.
And as I get older, I can sit back and ride that buggy all day long.
Yeah.
You know, tomorrow, I mean, you discussed this a little bit. I've got that I'm going to take.
Yeah.
I have a horse at my house that I got because, this horse actually stumbled. The lady fell off of it.
Right.
And I don't know what happened from there. I do know the horse ended up stepping on the lady or rolling over her.
Right.
And she passed away right there.
Right.
Now, I have that horse now. They called me and said, I was shooting the horse for a couple of years.
Right.
They called me and said, hey, do you want this horse? I love that lady to death. She was one of my favorite customers.
Yeah.
I took the horse and I started it. Had a good disposition, just didn't have the respect that it needed to stay off of it. And I've been training on the horse for a couple of months. I've got it pulling the carriage. Tomorrow morning, me and all her girls that she rode with, it's going to go on a very special ride. We're going to have that horse pull a buggy, her friends in it.
Yeah.
And I'm really looking forward to that. And I hope it goes good.
I do. Yeah. Yeah.
One of the things that all of us say when we go do a job is, hey, how'd it go? I went good. Didn't nobody die.
Yeah.
I mean, and so I hope I can say that tomorrow when I get back, because this is going to be the first time that this horse has went on a ride such as this, pulling this. The only thing it's ever done is just kind of me riding along with it.
Right.
Right.
But how many, even when I can remember right now, riding horses with you and how we would even tie them off to a post. And at first I wanted to tie it. And you're like, no, like there's little things that you just have already experienced and you know. And that brings my point, like how much calmer is the horse with staying there?
Yeah.
Right? It's almost like that horse feeds off of you because there's a respect there for you.
It does.
Because they kind of trust and depend on in a way, right?
They know that I'm not going to get them hurt.
Yeah.
It's not going to be jerking and snatching and all that. Well, now I'm going to ask him to come this way. And if he don't come this way, I'm going to move his feet.
Yeah.
If I go to load him in a trailer to go somewhere, if he don't want to go, that's fine.
Yeah.
But, we'll come right out here. And we're going to move your feet back and forth, until you decide, hey, I get rest if I go in there.
Yeah.
I couldn't tell you the last time I give a horse a whooping. But now I will make them move your feet.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I think back to how many, you probably can't count how many broken bones you've had from learning how to deal with horses, from legs to arms to ears.
Funny story here. I've always needed a story.
Yeah.
I told you about that horse that we're going to use tomorrow.
Right.
When the horse just didn't have any respect.
Right.
As far as staying off of you. I'm taking the horse. One of the first times that I'm looking at a book that I'm actually going to get on this buggy and ride. I've got a friend of mine. You remember Alan Craig?
Yes.
He's got a real nice square building.
Okay.
up there. So I'm going to take the horse up there. I prefer the square buildings better than the round. The round, I find if they take off running, they just keep running.
Yeah.
The square, they'll end up in a corner somewhere.
Yeah.
Pretty quick. So I like that. Well, I'm going up there and I'm go to, I unload. I had the little training card on the back, so I unload it. I go to unload the horse, and I've got this horse in a trailer that has a lot of my working stuff in it.
Okay.
Now, nothing back there that a horse ain't gonna get hurt on, but it might be some pipes that he got to step over it, go to the buggy and that type of stuff. And I kind of used it for a training deal, dude. Pay attention, step over it.
Yeah.
Well, as we said, well, though I've done turn 66, so I don't operate quite like I did back when I was catching.
Right.
So I go to step off the trailer, and this horse steps on the one that, well, he just jumps off the trailer.
Yeah.
Okay. And he don't care where I'm at.
Right.
At that time, we're still working on that.
Right.
And I'm laying on the ground. It's gonna steps on my leg.
Oh.
And he's just standing there. And I'm thinking, dude, my leg's fixing to break.
Yeah.
Because I can feel it off the ground. And I thought, all right, it's got the steel on it. That's already. There's one of them.
One of them.
I've had both legs broke right above the ankles.
Yeah.
From horses falling on that type of stuff.
Yes.
I had a Tony double barrel kicking in the right knee. That I ended up at an exterior fixator, which was halos going around my leg and bolts going through it.
Yeah.
I fell off of a horse one time and landed on my cell phone and broke a finger. It was on there just right in my pocket. And hard ground. And when I hit the ground, I said, well, I popped Charlie horse.
Yeah.
And when I went to roll over, my leg didn't come with it. Like, oh, crap. So, I broke it.
Yeah.
So, I've had a few broke bones.
Yeah. Would you say it's all been worth it?
Oh, my God. I wouldn't change nothing. And getting to work for myself and enjoy. If I worked a public job, I couldn't be coming over here doing this.
Exactly.
Now, later on this season, I'm going to go shoot a few horses.
Yeah. And how do those, I want to talk a little bit about the shoeing and then come back to the carriage business because I want to make sure people know how to find you and can use it. But when you go shoe horses and stuff, just how those relationships with the people, like, they think how fortunate they are to have you come out just to shoe the horse, and then they can talk about because you've seen so many things, or they can ask you questions and hey, I'm looking at this horse, or people, it's almost like I feel like you would tell people, this is what horse you need to look for, right? Because that's what you want to do. Like you can also help them find a horse to fit what they want, right? Because a horse is not just a horse. There's Mr. Ed song out there, that horse is a horse, of course, but no, it's not.
Exactly.
They're all different, right?
Some horses can be good for good horses, but not for that person. For instance, I want a different horse if I'm roping calves.
Yes.
I want a different horse than the horse I want to pull the carriage. I want different personalities out.
Right.
To rope calves, I want that song of just a little bit on the eel side.
Yeah.
But the rope carriage, the full carriage, I want is so docile.
Yeah. And it's almost like, to me, I just thought about different positions in sports. Different roles, right? It's like the guy that plays middle linebacker or catcher, you probably won't ride, and like a roping horse, like ready to go. But maybe that pitcher, you don't want him to get too excited. That would be the carriage horse.
Exactly.
A little more even keel that you hope, but that's just, they don't all come to you that way, but you feel like you can see their potential and where they're going, right?
I tell people that I can train a horse to do anything, but I can't train at this position. They either, want to be around you or they don't.
Yeah.
One horse, that Mustang I was telling you about, she'll do anything I asked her to do. I can ask her to take off at a certain lead and she'll do it. She'll do whatever I have. But she'd really just send you left her alone.
Yeah.
Because she's not that in your pocket type horse.
Right.
Got one of my big tall horses. That's some guy. He loves to be with you. He would just come sit down at the picnic table.
Yeah. I get it. And I've seen them do that around you. And I want to say this, and I know each, at this carriage and this trip and this distance, each thing's going to be its own amount of money or to hire, etc. But guys, if you really break down what you're getting and the opportunity to do this, I think it's cheap because I know what people pay for exclusive type things. And this, I don't know. I'm sure there's other people that do what you do in the United States, but they're not. You can't put a horse in a carriage in this color and that color. They do one route, one place, one location.
Yeah, they're not going to beat
They're not.
the market that I bring.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, I had a call company,
Mm-hmm.
and they called me this weekend because they had some stuff going on Valentine's Day.
Yeah.
Hey, do you want to come ride?
Yeah.
Come bring one of your horses to carriage and
Yeah.
work with us.
Yeah.
I've got friends of mine from all over the
Yeah.
U.S.
Yeah. And it's cool to be able to say no now, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like,
I can't. I got, and that's like, I had a guy called me about a wedding the other day.
Yeah.
And it was awful a little bit. I priced it $1,200.
Yeah.
We can't afford that. Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
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 Because for me to do it, I've got to make that much, or I'm not making nothing.
Right.
Because I will spend.
But let's be realistic. You're talking about a wedding and $1,200. That's a drop in the bucket.
Yeah. Usually what happens is they have spent
All
so
their-
much
yeah,
money
yeah,
everywhere else.
yeah.
They run out of money
Yeah.
before they think
Yeah.
of a horse and carriage. But now I spend half a day the day before the wedding,
Yes.
getting horses up, getting them ready.
And how many years to get it ready to go?
Yeah, and I've spent a lot of time. My insurance
Yeah.
is unreal. Carry full liability insurance.
Right.
And it's a lot to
Yeah.
it that you don't
Yeah.
see.
Yeah.
It's like, the lady told me, said, well, all we need you to do is bring us out from the wedding.
Yeah.
Well, ma'am, if everything just magically failed
Yeah.
in there,
Yeah.
we could do that.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
that ain't the way it works.
Yeah.
And I have actually thought about, this one lady said, a carriage or a wagon, thought about having a lower scale deal where I just throw whatever horse in there in the wagon and
Yeah.
do it.
Yeah.
But I don't want my stuff.
Right.
I want it looking top notch. I take more pride in that.
I think just seeing, I'll call it the evolution of carriages, because you started out maybe with one just to pull people around the square, and now you got a Cinderella top with LED lights that you can change colors and match the wedding colors. And you're white with a black. And it's like, I still think, the $1,200, and I know they spent their money and people are on a budget, but ultimately it's like, I want people to think of this first. If that's what they want to do, $1,200 for a day of that.
Yeah. I tell people that we will bring the pictures.
Yeah.
You'll want on your Christmas card.
Yes.
Yeah.
You can't recreate that.
No.
Yeah, I can't do it.
No, exactly.
There's nothing. And that's you're going to be, I guess, in business as long as you want to.
Yeah. I hope so. And I hope that somebody takes it.
Yeah.
When I decide to quit. One of the most fun things I have is watching somebody else drive my stuff. I can sit back and I can see my horses and carriage go with somebody, doing it.
Yeah.
I've got some people that work for me, and you wouldn't know that they work for me. You might think I work for them.
Yeah.
But for me to sit there and watch them go is some of the most enjoyment I get.
If somebody, as we kind of get towards the back end of the show, is there anything I missed that we need to bring up?
Now, I would say contact me, Stan Smith on Facebook.
Yeah.
I also have one called Wild Hearts Carriage Company.
Okay.
And I also have a website.
Okay. And we'll tag all that. We'll put the links on here and everything. I know how you and I are with technology and computers. We're not doing that part.
You're better than I. And you've got some good help.
Yeah, we've got great help. Great help.
Okay.
But if somebody wanted to book this out, how long in advance? I know funerals can be different because they got to, but if they're looking at a wedding, what would you say you need time to schedule?
If somebody called me and needs a funeral in 2 weeks, a wedding in 2 weeks,
right?
If I ain't got nothing going on, we can make it happen.
Okay.
But if you want to make sure that I'm out there, holler at me when you know it.
Yeah. Because everybody's planning 6 months in advance. Let's go ahead and get it booked. You can do it.
I did not know how far out people plan to eat.
Yeah.
Right after I started doing this, I had a guy call me.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was a guy, and he wanted to line us up for his wedding. I said, man, that's great. You know, we talked, and I said, when is it? He said, oh, it'll be next year. I didn't realize that people plan weddings that far in advance.
Yeah.
I told him, I said, you're planning a wedding in a year? And in the back of my mind is, I'm thinking, I hope y'all together in a year. And I had no idea.
It is, yeah. But that's, as we see, you know, I'm at an age now where a lot of these kids I coached in ball, they're dads and they're married and they're getting these things.
Ain't that unreal?
It is, I know. I try to make sure I lost all this, but you know, as I look at that and I'm like, how long they plan that stuff out. Yeah. And I look at them like, if she said yes, you might as well go ahead and seal that deal because you might do something stupid over the next year. You might want to go ahead and not plan it that far out, right?
Make it out.
Yeah, let's do this.
Yeah.
But I just adding that element to the wedding, to the funeral, to that, you know, I'm thinking of other things, but getting you on the schedule and seeing that you've gone to this music video, this movie, all those things. And, you know, it's just, you're still staying, you're still, you know, me and you both have trucks that we're thankful to have, and they're good trucks, but we could probably have a better truck, but that's not what's important.
Yeah.
It's not.
I could go buy a brand new truck today and pay for it.
Yeah.
But wow. Yeah.
Wow. You're able to do this with the carriages and add more to that.
Exactly.
Right? You said you just got a new carriage, what, a couple of weeks ago?
A couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
And I actually have a company coming out tomorrow to look at building a building.
Yeah.
Keep some stuff in.
Yeah.
You know, because I'm paying $225 a week. I mean, a month to store my carriages.
Yeah.
Plus, got some in my bars. I'll just build a building.
And these carriages aren't cheap.
Most of my carriages, one like the hearse I just bought, was about $13,000.
Right. That's worth more than my truck. I mean, realistically,
exactly.
Yes, but my truck does what it's supposed to, and that's fine.
Yeah.
But those things, I don't think people realize.
Yeah.
You know, that's $13,000 that you have to pay just to get it.
Yeah.
Then you got to go pick it up.
Yeah. I drove to South Carolina and picked it up.
Right.
You know.
Yeah.
So, man.
And then how do you get it back?
On the trailer on flatbed trailer. Now, and for me to get from one place to another, I've got a bigger trailer that I pull that I can put 2 horses up front.
Okay.
And then put about any carriage I've got on the back end of it.
Wow. How long is that when you got it all?
It's 24 foot.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. It's tight.
Yeah.
You know, but it's doable.
Yeah.
And every one of my trailers has receiver hitches on the back of them.
Okay.
So sometimes I'll hook 2 trailers together.
Gotta do what you got.
You have, which I mean, you know, you see the TS trailers going down the highway. Now, the one thing I did invest in was a backup camera.
Okay.
Put the camera on the back end of the back trailer where I can watch.
For safety and all that.
Trailer. Yeah.
Because that's a lot of money you got on those trailers.
It is, and you can't see it.
Right.
And if it come off, I never would know it.
Yeah.
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 So, I mean, I like being able to see it back there.
I've got one question to wrap up. And is there a certain horse that you remember more than others? Is there a certain carriage or experience or something? What's something that jumps out to you? Because every story you tell, people are like, that was a memory for them. What's something you remember? A horse?
Well, as far as a horse, and you'll remember this.
Okay.
Old Bait horse I had for so long. I loved that old horse.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he was probably my one time. The carriage stuff, there's so many memories. After that. You know.
Maybe Ed falling off. That might.
Yeah, Ed falling off.
Right.
On the Avenger movie.
Yeah.
I had went to Stone Mountain shooting it.
Yeah.
And they have me following a New York City cab.
Okay, now I remember that. Oh, yes.
And all the Avenger people are down next to the creek fight.
Okay.
Yeah. And I'm just following it like nothing. You know? And that was funny. Now, it was, I assume, supposed to have been in snow. Yeah. You know, because it looked like a bunch of soap syrup.
Yeah.
But to watch them people down there fighting and stuff, you know.
Yeah.
That was one of them times that I wanted to call my mom, dad, and say, "Hey, you ain't gonna believe this stuff. Guess what your boy did?"
That's
You know.
cool. That's cool. Cause that's, yeah. What else we got?
Yeah, that's, well, on that deal,
Yeah.
I called my daughters
Yeah.
and told them, I said, "Hey, y'all, I'm gonna be gone this weekend."
Right.
You know, I said, and I, got to go. And at that time, I didn't know what Avengers was.
Yeah.
And they said, "Well, where you going?" I said, "Well, I'm going to Stone Mountain." Something, I said, "I think it's Avengers." And my daughter said, "You got this cool stuff to go do the Avengers movie. That's pretty cool."
Yeah.
And for that long, I was somebody in my kids' eyes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which we all treasure them moments.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yes. And that's cool. I remember the snow in the cab, but I guess I didn't put it together because a lot of times I'll ask you and we'll talk about, and that was your perspective.
Yeah.
But I don't even think you told me what movie it was.
Yeah.
And you were like, this was cool and this was this. And I didn't remember that. But man, this has been so much fun. And I wanted to see people get to see this side of state. A lot of people see you on the carriage, you operate in a movie or your horses doing things, but kind of the person behind it and get to experience that. So
I actually enjoy the people, the movie work. This, it's just so redundant.
Right.
Over and over. We did that P-Valley deal, and I'll say your people can look up P-Valley for them too. It's about a gentleman's club.
Yeah.
And we shot this scene over and over. We shot it all day of them pulling up, taking the casket off, holding it to the grave.
Yeah.
We did it all day. Yeah. And after a while, like, come on, dude. Have you not got it yet?
I got you.
Yeah.
But I think people should hear, because I think, I think if you're going to be in a movie, they're probably going to pay you this and it's going to be a pretty good payday and all that. But that's not what it's about for you, really, at the end of the day.
Yeah.
You got to cover your bills. You want to do everything right. And like you said, you're not just going to slap something together just to get in somebody's budget, because you set a standard. But at the same time, if you could make this, or you could go enjoy it and see people enjoy it rather than cut, over and over and over. Because everybody from the other side goes, he's in a movie. That's.
And you know what? That is, I tell people, it looks great on your resume.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that is one reason I do it.
Yeah.
I enjoy doing this, it's self-accomplishment.
Sure.
Stuff, but it looks great on your resume.
Yeah. And people other than you know who Avengers are and King and Country, but that's another who is Stan. That's like, do you ever watch TV? Really?
Yeah, not
right. Right. I mean, if it's not an old Western, it's
a lot of time it's on, but I'm not.
Yeah.
Yeah. And what's on TV now is fit to watch.
Nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing. It's not worth watching.
Yeah. I've tried to watch stuff like the 6:30, 7 o'clock at night on the main channel.
Yeah.
And there's nothing that
it's going to keep you interest.
No.
Yeah. And that's just, I think it's cool to know, from how you grew up, and it was basically around farming, horses, sports, and just friends and the way y'all grew up. And then you said, how long you been shoeing? 40?
I shot my first horse at 14.
Okay.
And I'm 56 now.
Right. But you were around it before then?
Yeah. Dad started shoeing when I was 10.
Okay.
So I started going with him when I was 10. Yeah. And by the time I was 14, if any of our horses needed shot, I had to do it. It's kind of like a mechanic working on a car. Yeah. He's going to have a roughest running car it is, because he don't own the food.
Right. That's true.
Yeah. So I shot one of my horses the other day, and I hate doing that. I'm married by myself, and ain't none of my horses ever paid me.
Right. I get it. Well, I'll tell you one more story as we do wrap up, because Courtney and I talked about this the other day. Before we had Maddox, so this has been over 10 years, and we've known each other about 13. So somewhere in that range, we're riding our rodeo at the VBC. It was a full rodeo at the Bon Bron Summit. And you were there, and she and I came and hung out, and you may or may not remember, but it was like that many years ago. And she had been around a rodeo before. She had, thought cowboys were cute with the Wranglers on and all the stuff that girls do, whatever. But it's like, we got in there and you were like, hey, come over here. And we just walked around here and walked around there. And she's like, she kind of understood where I get being me. Like, you just act like you're supposed to be there.
Yeah.
And you just have fun. And, and she's like, man, we got to go behind the shooter. We got to talk to this guy. We got to do that. I've never seen that before. It's just, and I'm like, but Stan didn't give himself enough credit. People know who you were.
Yeah.
And they're like, well, that's Stan. That's Stan. He's probably back here helping that guy do this and offering advice to that person.
Do you remember on that note?
Yeah.
Bobby was there.
Yeah.
Great friend of mine, the guy that said he horse down the car and everybody.
Yes. Yes.
He passed away about a month ago of cancer.
Okay.
He fought it for several years.
Yeah.
He finally passed away.
Yeah, it sucks, but what a great life.
Yeah.
And how many people did he bring joy and be able to show what he could do?
Exactly. They told him, to quit and start taking chemo. And he said, nah, I'm good.
Exactly.
He hired people to haul his stuff,
Okay.
to the different rodeos. Sure. And him and his wife would jump on a plane and fly to it, and he would do his act.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think about, and a lot of musicians and poet or they talk about you got a birthday and a death date, and that dash is what matters.
Yeah.
And he extended that dash.
Yeah.
And never checked up and found a way to keep going. Right?
The first time I ever heard that. Matter of fact, you mentioned Joel Caldwell ago. The first person I ever heard say that was Joel, and it really stuck it home to me.
Yeah.
I run across a thing, where Facebook has members. I run across a thing the other day that said, believe it, you only have one or something. And it really resonated different because this guy did. It showed up on my memories where he said that a few years ago.
I think I saw you share that.
Yeah,
yes.
exactly.
Yes. And I got my attention because I remember. Yeah.
Exactly. Oh, Big Ray. Did you ever know Big Ray? You were know. Yeah, that's who it was. I actually did his funeral.
It does. It changes.
Yeah, it changes.
It starts to change. And you think, I was talking to some younger business owners the other day, Stan, and they said, well, how would you communicate with us? Like, how's this going to go? I said, this is one thing I can for sure tell you. Sometimes the days seem long, but the years are real short.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Sometimes you're in that day and it's like, I want to get done with this day. But then all of a sudden, what year is that?
Mm-hmm. I can't believe that I've been doing this carriage stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I actually got started doing it when COVID hit.
Mm-hmm.
Because I was doing a lot of rodeoing and a lot of showing. They shut all that down.
Right.
And I rode up on what I thought was a good buy on the carriage.
I do remember that stuff.
And bought it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's it just kind of multiplied and took wings and took off.
Well, that's such a great story in of itself. You're like, okay, I can't do that. I still am on fool with horses and I'm going to find a way to make people happy and then still enjoy it.
Yeah.
I now look at you.
Yeah. I thought, you know what? They ain't gonna shut that down. We on the outside.
Yeah.
And I would tell people would say, hey, you want me to wear a mask? Dude, that's up to you.
Yeah.
I'm on the outside. I'm good.
I got a story from COVID I'll share. I haven't shared this on air yet. I was invited, and we used to do a lot of baseball stuff, and that was my life. Right. I got a call, must have been there.
Always just love what you catch.
Thank you. Well, you taught me a lot about it. But most people don't know how well you were catching and that. But as far as a transfer, I'll never forget, you were the one that taught me how to do this and be quicker at it. Trying to go back there with the story. What was I saying, Courtney? But just seeing where you are now, because you started that because you wanted to, and then to be around it. So we'll put your website on here. Is there a phone number they can call, or it's through the website? Or
you better off to call me,
okay,
or text me. The phone number is 256-779-379.
Mm-hmm.
I'm old enough that I don't check my email.
Amen.
Amen. And I don't have a Courtney sitting there at the house all the time.
Yeah, there's a big plus to that.
Yeah, exactly.
But Stan, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, I wanted people to see and get to experience this side of it, understand the business, find out how you can use the carriage services. And here's some stories.
Yeah, we love doing weddings. I love making the funerals more special.
Yes.
To me, there's no more gift than to be able to help somebody do their funeral. Well, Jennifer, I did her dad's funeral. Right after I met him, he gave me a walking stick. Okay, one in the woods, walking stick.
Yeah.
Well, his family couldn't believe he gave me a walking stick. Why didn't you give him one? Well, when I did his funeral, I took the walking stick with me and set it up in my area.
Yeah.
And the handle was sticking up. And in the pictures, you see that walking stick
Yeah.
there, and it was
Special.
very special to me. Yeah, I still got the walking stick in my closet.
Yeah. That's special. That is. And that's what you do for people.
Yeah.
That's what I wanted to make sure. So, Stan, thank you for being
I
here.
appreciate it, buddy.
Thank you. Thank you guys for watching Podcast on Wheels. If you want to reach out, we'll have the links. We're going to tag everything. And if you forget the name of his business, if you forget the phone number, guess what? He's my uncle. I can get you in touch with him. Shoot us a message and we'll relay it. Thank you guys for watching Podcast on Wheels. Click, click.